cover most of the things, the important things, throughout the course. So if you know how to answer these questions, I believe you will be able to solve easily the final exam. So let's quickly check. So as I mentioned, at the first part or first page, of course, it will be paper-based, but you will have to write your student ID and your name in this place. And let's check some of the questions, and mostly these questions coming from the assignment and lecture throughout this semester. So for example, in the first question, let me just adjust this part, okay. So the first type of question, you will have x, y, and z with some value. For example, x equal 5, y equal 2, and z equal -4. And then we have to rewrite all the mathematical expression as a Matlab expression. For example, if x equal 5, y equal 2, and z equal -4, we just define them here, x, y, and z. And then we have to write this mathematical expression. So for example, this is cosine square 50, and this is 50 degree. It should be cosine d of 50, and then this is to the power 2. And then divided by sine, but this sine doesn't have any degree, it have pi, it should be radian, so it should be sine of, and then 0.4 multiplied to pi, of course we write pi as pi, and then multiply to y, this is just y, and just run, and we will have the output over there. Another type, just a quick reminder, when we write len, log, and factorial. For example, len as a mathematical expression, we write as a log in Matlab. So log y and plus, and then factorial, and once we started Matlab propose, so we write factorial, and from factorial it's factorial x divided by, and most of the students still have the same error. If you have operation in the numerator or denominator, for example 3 plus something, or 3 multiplied to something, or any operation in the numerator or denominator, just use parentheses. Don't forget to use parentheses. So it should be 3 and then plus, and log should be log 10, and then we again write y, and just run. This is another formula, the fourth root of something. There are, of course, several ways to write the same expression. For example, the fourth root, some people will write something to the power 1 over 4. But please don't forget to write 1 over 4 in a parentheses. So we can write here, this is just x plus, and then 2 multiplied to y, to the power 1 over 4, which is the fourth root, divided by the denominator, which should be absolute. This is abs to remove any sign. It's just positive sign, the output. Absolute of, and then 3 multiplied 2, and then z. If I run, I will have this the output. You can rewrite this part using nth root. So you can use nth root, and then you can write the numerator part, which is this part, comma 4. And this part is just x plus 2 multiplied to y. And the denominator part is the same. It's abs of, and then 3 multiplied to z. If we run, should have the same output. The last one, this is revision for lecture number 1 and 2. So here you can see e to the power x. E is exponential of x, and then this is multiplied to sine, and there's 45 degree, so it should be sine d. It should be sine d of, and then 45 divided by y, and just run. Do you have questions so far? Is it okay? Okay? Okay. The second question, it is like multiple choice. So you have to read and select what's the proper answer. For example, this is just an example. We say, what is Matlab stand for? The name Matlab is coming from what? Is it math lab, or math laboratory, or matrix laboratory, or math laboratory? The correct answer is matrix laboratory. So we write C here. This is just an example. So, for example here, which of the following can be used as a Matlab variable? 200D, D200, D.200, D space 200. And of course, this is the correct answer because we can't use space, we can't use dot, we can't start with number. The three main rules start with letter, including letters and numbers, and only underscore is allowed. So in that sense, correct answer is B, just write B. Next one, which of the following command will be used to clear the text from the command window? Is it clear, or close all, or close, or CLC? Of course, the CLC is removing everything, clean everything from the command window, so the correct answer is D. And the next one, which of the following command is used to write append the matrix Y? So we need to append Y after X. In the Excel sheet name XY, and the file, Excel file name data. So we have to append Y after X. The file is data, and the sheet is XY. If we look here, write matrix, write matrix, write matrix, read matrix. Read matrix, no, because we need to write. This is the first thing. Number two, write matrix equal. This is incorrect because write matrix, there is no equal. If we look here, we have this one and this one. Write matrix Y, so both Y, and the file name is data.xlsx, so both is okay. The sheet is XY, same here, but here we have the right mode append. So this is the correct answer because we have to append the things. So it should be A. Okay, do you have a question so far? So this type of question will cover everything we teach from all the lecture, just if you know the basics. Okay, next question. This is, we revised here, lecture 4, 5, and 6, which cover how we create the matrix, like including vectors and matrix. So if we look here, the function y equal x cubed minus 2x plus 1. What's the value of y? For the following value of x. So these are x. And don't write every element like explicitly, like 12, 9, 6, 3. This is incorrect. So anyone will write x equal to, and then square parentheses, 12 space, 9 space, 6 space, etc. This is incorrect. If we can find a relation between the number, yes, we can write, for example, we can write it started from 12, decreasing by minus 3, going up to minus 9. If we run this one, and let's just increase to check. Yes, it's going correct. So here we can see it's going from 12 to minus 9. And of course you can use also, for example, linear space. Linear space. And linear space, start is 12. And the stop is minus 9. And how many elements? If we count 2, 4, 6, 8. So number of elements is 8. And run. And we have exact same thing. So either is fine. Let's comment one of them. And let's increase a little bit and check again. So we need just to compute y. What is y? But this once you have x as a vector, you should remember that there is some operation needed dot operation. Always remember that, yes? So in that sense, we can say that y equal to, and this is x cubed. It should be x to the power something like this. But this is incorrect because if I just run without completing, we can't use something like that. We should have MATLAB remind us, use dot like operation. So we have to write dot to the power 3 and then minus 2 multiplied to x and then plus 1. And we don't have to write dot with 2 because it's just a scalar. And just run. If we run that, now we have x and y. We finish. It's very, very easy. But the most important things, two things here, how we create the vector and how we can write the equation for the y using the dot operation. Next question is very similar to the previous question, but here is 2D matrix. So we need to create this one, and also we need to find what's the relation between these numbers. Is there anyone who can say what is the relation for these numbers? 2, 1, how we can create that? Do you have any clue? Yes, please. Use I and plus 1. That's correct answer. So Katsuma-sensei, please. So in that sense, what he mentioned is if we write I with 3, it will give us all the element is 0 except for the middle one, the diagonal, it's 1. And if we use ones of 3, it will give us all our ones. If we like add both together, if we say this one plus this one, it will give us all diagonal is 2 and the remaining is 1. So we can say this is just x. Once we know x, we need to define y. It's exactly the same. Y equal to. We should remember that x is a matrix, so we should use the dot operation. And another thing is we have numerator and denominator, so we should use parentheses. So we should write x dot to the power, and then the power is also is 2 over 3, so we should use parentheses, 2 divided by 3. And then we can say plus, and then 2, and then divided by, and then 5. Once we run that, we will exactly have the output here. Here, there are so many places where the student might make a mistake. For example, they forgot to add these parentheses, they forgot to add these parentheses, or they forgot to add the dot operation. Because if we remove the dot operation, in this case, it will work. But it gave a wrong answer. So just dot and run, and this is the correct answer. Is there any questions so far? Is it okay? Okay, next question. Next question is, again, how to create a matrix. But remember, we learned something about, this is the handout. If we have a full screen, and just going back, yes, here. So do you remember this random and random integer? These two. Random to create a random number, and random integer to create a random integer number. This is in page number 4. So if we check now, here, we need to create 3 by 4 matrix. Name, random array, and please stack with the name given. If we say name this one, please use this name. So I have to use this name down there, random array, equal to. And in the first row, so let's read the first one. In the first row, the element of the first row are decimal random between 0 and 1. So the first row is random decimal. So in that sense, I will put a square brackets because we will add several rows. And the first one is random. And for the random case, this is just one row. This is 3 rows by 4 columns. If we consider the first row, it should have 4 columns. So it should be random 1, 4, because 1 row, 4 columns. If I just run like that, we can see that we have the first row is random number between 0 to 1. This is first row. We need to go to the second row. Second row, here, the element of the second row is random number between 1 to 10. If I didn't decide it's random or random integer, you can use whatever you wish, but it's very easy to use the random integer if it's from 1 or above the 1. Because if it's, for example, the random between 1 to 10, so I can use the random integer. So I can write random integer. And random integer, we should specify first the range. So the range in square brackets, minimum is 1, maximum is 10. And the shape, how many size? I will say 1, 4. This is the second row. If I run, now we have the second row is random number between 1 to 10. If I run again, it will give me different combination in the second and first row. The third one, third column. Let's do enter. And the third row, it will be again random element between 10 to 20. It's exactly same as the second one. The difference is the range. So I can write here random, I can write here random integer of, and then both square brackets, and then divide. This is from 10 to 20, and the shape for this is 1, 4 again, and just run. Now you can see this is from 10 to 20. The only difference is if the minimum number is 1, you can easily delete it. So can you see this one from 1 to 10? If I remove, it will give me the same exact answer. So we can skip the minimum number if it started from 1. But please don't care about that. We finished the question. So just here, how we can use random integer to create a matrix, a combination of things. And the most important things, we use semicolon to create new rows every time. Okay, next question. And the next question, this part is covering the sum of the function with matrix. So for example here, we have a matrix named B. And B with this value, first row, second row, third row, fourth row, it's kind of 4 by 3 matrix. We required, number 1, summation of each column. What is the sum of each column? For example, 6 plus 0 plus 0 plus 100, it should be 106. 9 plus 0 plus 0 plus 200 is 209, something like that. So let's define B first. So I will write B equal, open square brackets. First row, there is no relation. I can write 6, 9, 2. And also in the question, they doesn't mention. You can't write every element explicitly, but even if we don't have any relation. And then second and third row are zeros. It's just zeros. So we can write zeros, and we put the shape. This is 2 rows, 3 columns. So I will write 2, 3. And the third one, semicolon, to the fourth row, and started from 100, increasing 100, going to 300. If I just run, I will have 6, 9, 2, and zeros, and 100, 200, 300. The first thing is, what is the summation of each column? So summation of each column, just write sum of B, and if we run that, it will sum every column. Number 2, what is the whole? Please always notice the word whole. What is the whole summation of the matrix? The whole summation is kind of what is the whole number. It's one scalar, one number. So we should write sum of B. If we do so, we sum all the number in the 2D matrix. Number 3, the maximum of each column. What is the maximum number of each column? We can do that easily. I can write maximum of just P. One maximum will have the maximum of each column, and of course the last row is the maximum, so it's 100, 200, 300. Number 4, what is the whole average of the matrix? What is the whole average? Average is like the mean, so we use mean, and because this is whole, I should use 2, mean of B, and run. And this is the whole mean of the matrix. It's okay? It's just some function with the matrix. Okay, next. This part will cover like lecture 11, 10, 11, and 13. This is kind of using the if, for loop, and display message. Let's maximize this. We will minimize again, but let's see. Okay, yes. So we define the vector x. We have to define the vector x, and we should find the relation. So if we look here, it started from -4, increasing by 2, going to 14. So I can write x is equal to, start is -4, increasing by 2, going up to 14. Up to 14. And run, and I believe it should be correct. And then this is now it's start of if and for loop. So please focus with me. Some students still feeling confused about that. In the previous question, for example, here we have the whole matrix and the y is equal to same function for all the elements. So we just use one y. But if you check this question, you can see that the value of y will vary based on the value of x. So if x is less than or equal to 0, like for example in the case of -4, -2, and 0, the y equal to x plus 1. But if x greater than 0 and less or equal 10, the y have a different relation. And then again, if x is greater than 10, it should be bigger. So we have two things we should say. First thing, we should loop for every element of x. Check the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, etc. And we have to check the range. So we have to loop for every element, -4, -2, 0, 2, 4. And we have to check, is this x in the range, this one, or this range, or this range? Okay. So in that sense, I will write 4. And how many elements here? I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And also MATLAB wrote for me here 1 multiplied to 10. So the number of elements 10. So for I1 equal to 1, 2, 10. We will loop 10 times. Press enter. And if I just wrote x of I1 and run, I will run for every element of x, -4, -2, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. But this is not the objective. We should check the value of x of y. We should check if x of y, in the first case, less or equal 0. If in this case, x of y less or equal 0, then y will be x or 2x plus 1. Press enter. But this is the first case, if x less or equal 0. How about if x greater than 0? In that sense, I can write if, but with if, there's something wrong. It should be else, because we say else if. So we check something else. So we write here, else if. And we confirm it's okay because it's blue. So it means it's okay. And here we have two conditions, something and something. And we can write in between and. So we can write here, else if x of I, because x of I is every time. But before going further, do you think what I wrote in y is correct or not? I wrote here, same things, y equal 2x plus 1, yes? Do you think this is correct or not? This x means all the number of x, but it should not be all the number of x. It should be only one number, yes? So it should be x of I. And when we check here, we have to check if x of I greater than 0, and if x of I less or equal 10. This is the second case. In the second case, this is the condition. Of course, you can remove this part, but I don't need to disturb you now, so you can keep. So else if in this case, x between 0 to 10, please use y equal to, and then this is 20 minus 3 multiplied 2, not x, is x of I1, one element. The last case, else, in that sense, if the x is not in the first and second case, it should be in the third case. So we can write y equal to, and in this case, it should be x of I to the power 2. These are the value of x and y, and we compute them based on that. Once we finish, we have to display a message, say, done. So we just use the display function with a message within say, done. And run. Now you can see that for every value of x, we compute the value of y based on the range or the value of x, and then when we finish, we just print a message, it's done, we finish. So in this type of question, we have to think about two things. For loop here, because the for loop, we have to for every element, and we have to think about if, because we have to check what is the every value of x to set the correct range. Next, do you have questions so far? Is it okay? If you have a question, please just raise your hand. I can repeat the question again. Okay, next. This question cover lecture 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 13. Don't feel that this number is scared. No, the idea is after finishing this course, in your practical use, you should mix all the knowledge. So we have to know something about like creating an array, how to plot something, things like that. But all are very basic. So here, we have x, and x here have these values, okay? We need to generate any random number. So here, generate a random integer scalar, one number, one random number, between 0 to 25, any random number. And we call this one as a random n. And we have to use Matlab random function. So before going further, I just give x, so we already have x here defined. So you don't have to disturb yourself to just write what's x. X is here. And how to generate one random number? As mentioned here, between 0 to 25. I just explained that before. We can use random integer function, and we can, let me wipe random integer, and then parentheses, and then square brackets, and put the minimum and maximum. So we can write 0, comma, and then the maximum is 25. If we didn't define the shape, or if we write the shape one by one, it means just one number, and just run, we will have a random number between 0 to 25. Every time we run, we will have a random number. And of course, you can remove this part. Just if I remove, because just one by one, and just if I run, it's again, give me one random number. We will save this one here in the variable name random n. And the second question is, for the x, count how many numbers in this matrix x is less than or equal to the random integer number that will be generated. So here we have to count. For example, in this case, if the random number is 13, how many number is less or equal that? So we should consider, like if 13, we should consider all the first row, all the second row, and 3 number from the third row. So this is how we work. How we can do that? The idea is we need to do for loop again for every element in this x and check, is this number is less or equal or greater than? If it's less or equal, we should increase the count by 1. So we need to start a counter, we need to loop for every element, we need to check with f, and then increasing the count. This is how we think. So in that sense, we need to create a counter. So I will say counter or CNT equals 0. This is just a start. We create something to count. And we need to loop for all the elements, x and y. So how many x, how many rows? It's 3. How many columns? It's 6. So we should loop for all the elements. So I should write 4 rows that equal 1, 2, 3, and 4 columns from 1 to 6, and press enter. If I do that, and if I just write x of row, comma, column, and run, I will print all the elements because we loop for all the elements of x. So we can see 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0, and all the 3, something like that. But we don't know to just loop. Every time we loop, we need to check, is this number less or equal or greater than? So we can say, if this x of rows and columns less or equal this random number, this one, what will happen? If this happened, just increase the count. The count will be the old count plus 1. So now we just increase the count every time it's less or equal this count. And when we finish, we wish to display this message. So the message here say number of x element less or equal the random number is what is the count. So I will write display, and the message say that number of x element which is less or equal, and this is the random number, I will say plus, and the random number, this one, yes, I will just put here. And then plus again is, so I will write between quotation string space to give space, is space, and then plus, and then it will be finally the count. And just put here to display this count. Once we finish, I will click run. And now please look. the number here, this is x, and the random number in this case is 23. 23 is almost greater than all elements except of 25, yes? If you count, this is 3 rows, 6 columns, mean number of element is 18. So the number of element which is less or equal 23 is 17. All element except of 25. This is how we can verify that our code is working fine by our eyes and just check. So again, in this code, we need to count. So we have to create a counter. We have to increase the counter. And we have to loop, because this is matrix, so we have to loop for rows and columns. And we have to check the condition. The condition say if x of the rows and columns mean that this element is less than or equal to the random number. Is okay? Okay, sounds great. Next question. This question is related to, let me minimize this a little bit, maybe is minimum. You can see. Okay, so this part is revising lecture 4, 5, and 9. So here, we have just a matrix X. We already know. And we need to change or delete some element. So, first requirement is define the matrix X and don't write all the elements by like one by one. So in that sense, we can just write here, we can check this X and write here, X is equal to, and let's check the first row. First row started from 10 to 0, so we can write is 10 to 0 and decreasing by 2. So I can write the first one is 10 with increment minus 2 going to 0. I will check. Yes, it looks okay. If I just do that, I can see the zeros. Okay. And the second row is all 3. If you see the same things, multiply several times, the easiest way is using 1 and that number. So I can think this is just semicolon, the second row is ones, shape, 1 row, 6 columns. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 6. 1 row, 6 columns, and these are multiplied to 3. It will give me all 3. This is the second row. Third one is 25, 30, 35, increasing by 5 from 25 to 50. So I can write here, the third row is starting from 25, increasing by 5, and going to 50. If I run, this is the third row. I know, it's correct. And the next one is, we have, oops, what happened? No, zoom out a little bit. Zoom in, yes, okay. So the next one is 600 minus 600 minus 500 up to minus 100. So it means the start will be minus 600. It's increasing every time by 100, going up to minus 100. If I run, I can see the number here is correct or are correct. If we define the first requirement, we finish the first part. The second part is modify the element in the second row and column number 6 to be 50. Second row, this one, column number 6, this one. So it means this number we need to change from 3 to 50. So I can write, call this number x of second row 6 columns, and I can write equal to 50. Run. So you can check, this is 3, became 50. We change this number to 50. Next one, modify all the elements value of second row to fourth row. So this is from second, third, fourth, and columns 3 to 5 here. So this is 3, 4, 5. So we need to change these numbers to be all like zeros, except of the diagonal is minus 4. Again, this is just I. and I will give me 1, and then multiply ones by minus 4. So all what I can say is I need to say x of from second row to fourth row. So I can write 2 to 4 semicolon, and comma, not semicolon, comma, and which column, and we can see this is from 3 to 5. I can write 3 column 5, and I can say, I can say this is just I of, if we check here the numbers, they are 3 by 3, so I can write I3 is minus 1, and I will multiply this by minus 4 and run, and now you can see these numbers change it to all zeros except the diagonal minus 4. And then we have to modify the element value of the row number 2 to 3. So row number 2 to 3 this, and column number 2 is mean this part. We have to change them from the original value to minus 3 and minus 5. So all what we have to do is write x of row 2 to 3. So we write 2 colon 3, comma, and the which column? This is column number 2. And the original value, it should be minus 3 and minus 5. If you wrote minus 3 space minus 5 is okay. Here we can see minus 3 and minus 5. If you use a semicolon, it's okay to create a column vector. So either is fine. Last thing, we need to delete row number 1, delete the whole row. Yes, we can do that. How? Just we can say x of, this is very important, x of row number 1 and all the columns, just column is mean all the columns, is equal to, and just empty square brackets, and just run. Now you can see the first row was deleted. Just remember that, I don't know why, but here in Matlab something very strange. If I say row number 1 and column from 1 to 6, I wrote the range, specify exactly the range. It should be same, but if I run, it gives me an error. I don't know why. This is very strange. In Python, I think you must say can agree with me, we can specify the range. But here is very strange. So please remember to delete the whole row. Just remove, write the column. It means the whole row or whole column. So just write the column and just run. Okay, next. So this is just for deleting the numbers. So just remember how to select the range for the numbers. Like which row, which column, something like that. But finally, it's very straightforward. Do you have question? Any question? Any questions? Okay. Okay, next. This part, I tried to mix creating array with plot. It's very straightforward, but it's kind of two questions in one. In the first one, we have to create a column vector named x with 5 elements, and all the elements are by. So if we check here, it's kind of all are by. And of course we can't write by as a symbol, it's just with its value, which is 3.14 something. So if you wish to first define x as a column vector, is there any idea how we can do that? Do you know how we can do that? Again, if same number repeating over and over again, what way we can use? Zeros or ones. So I can write ones of, this is 5 rows, 1 column. So I can write 5 rows, one column. If I just run, it will give me 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I need them to be all by, so I will write multiply to pi and run, and now all are pi. Okay. Second thing, we have to modify the element in the first and second row to be 1, -1, and 1.5. So we will change these two numbers to -1 and 1.5. So we can say x of first element to second element, and it equal to square brackets -1 and 1.5. Again, giving -1 and 1.5 as a row vector or with semicolon as a column vector, both are okay. It will give me the same value. And then change the fourth and fifth value to be 6.5 and 10. So same, exactly as we explained. X of 4 to 5, and then I will write the value will be 6.5 to 10 and run, and now we can see this is -1, 1.5, and then 6 and 10. We finished this part. So this is creating vectors, modifying the element, and the third one, calculate the value of y based on the value of x. So y here is 9x cubed minus 4x plus 1. So there is no condition, it's just we substitute, and we remember that x is a vector. So for the power we should use the dot operation. So I can write y equal to, and this would be 9 multiplied to x dot to the power, and this is cube 3 minus 4x, so 4 multiplied to x, and then plus 1. I believe this is correct. Yes. So this is the equation. If I do that and just run, now we have y value. Now we have x and y. Okay. So the requirement is plot x versus y considering the following format. This is just a plot. So I will write plot x comma y, and we need to consider all of these. So I will write here plot x comma y comma, and what's the format? The format, the first one, red dotted line with a circle marker. Red mean R, first letter in that color, red R. Dotted line, it means column. And circle marker mean O. So we have to write here in the plot, here, red, column for dotted, and the marker is circle is O. If I just run, longer than I expected. Yes. Okay, now we have this line. It's red line, and now we have the values. Second format, the line width is 1.2. We need to increase the line width. So do you remember, comma, the line width. If I start to write line width, Matlab complete for me, just press 10. He will put quotation, give you the comma, and just we write 1.2, run. You can see now the line thickness increased, the width increased. And the next is, what is the marker size? So the marker size is 8. So we have to write here, comma, marker S, and this is the only option we have. Press tab, it will continue, and write 8, run, and now the marker size increased to be 8. Next. If we check here, marker edge color is black. So it's from the same name, but all is combined. Marker edge color, it's the only option. Press tab, let's continue. And black, do you remember? Black is the only color that we take the last letter, black, K, so we write K. If we run, Now the marker edge color changes to black. Next, the marker face color is green. So we need to make marker face color is green. So all what I have to write here is, comma, marker face, and this is the only option. Press tab, marker face color, green, first letter is G, run, and the marker face color now is green. Okay, next. We need to write the title, X versus Y. So just write the word title. So I can write here at the end, okay, the word title, and just put X versus Y. If I run, we can see now the title is X versus Y. Next, we have to write the X label and write the word X. So I will write here X label, open parentheses, and just put the text in like quotation, run, and now you can see the X labeled is X. And if you next, X axis limit. What is the limit? Between -2 to 12. So X limit, we just take X, and for the limit, first 3 letter, which is lim, and then open parentheses, open square brackets, and just write -2 to 12. Run, and now the range will change it to -2 to 12. Next, show the measure grid. So measure grid, just write grid on, run, and now the grid will be shown as we can see here. I think we take 4 lecture for plots, and it's very important, and I think you already knew very well the plot command. Okay, let's check the next example. For the next example, we have here the following table show the monthly average high and low temperature in Kyoto City, and we have high and low and different months, June, July, August, etc. And we need to use subplot. Subplot means we have to use 2 figures or multiple figures side by side or like above each other, something like that, based on the description. So use a subplot command to create 1 row, 2 column subplot figure. And in the subplot, the left one, we will have something to do, and in the right one, we have something to do. Before going in deep, just remember that months we defined is 1 to 12, it's just numbers, and X and Y is given, like high temperature, low temperature is already given there. So we already know the value. Once we see subplot, and here they mention 1 row, 2 columns, all what I can write subplot. This is 1 row, 2 columns. This is 1 row, 2 columns, comma. Which one we will start? We will start from 1, which means the left. If I just run this one, I can see that Matlab create a plot and give me the left one. If I again copy this one and paste it here and change it to 2, run. Let me increase a little bit. Okay. You can see that now Matlab create for us 2 empty figures we can use as a subplot. Okay, let's check. Every subplot is independent from the other one. So the left one, plot high and low temperature versus months in the same figure. So months with high temperature, months with low temperature at the same figure. So I can do that. So here I can write plot months, comma, high temperature, comma, months again, comma, low temperature again. If I just run, I can see that Matlab plot high and low temperature at the same plot. Okay, first requirement done. Second one, format the high temperature to be red dash dot with asterisk marker. Red dash dot with asterisk marker. So I can write here, after months is high, I can write 2 quotation, comma, and for these 2 quotation I can write red R dash dot, and like this is asterisk marker, it is 8, yes? So it is red dash dot asterisk, we do it here. If I just run, I can see here the first one done. And then the second one, format the low temperature to be green dashed line with plus marker. So green, it will be comma, 2 quotation, green G, and this dashed line, dash dash, and the marker is plus, so we will use plus sign. Run. Now we can see this is green dashed line with plus marker. Next, we need to write this title, high and low temperature. Title is very simple. Just I will write here, title, open, parentheses, put the title, run. We can see here, this is the title. Next, we need to add months as x-axis label. It's very straightforward as well. So I can write x label and just add months, run. And now we can see months as an x-axis label. Next, we have to use the legend as high and low temperature in the position as southeast. So I have to take these 2 and I will write here legend, Matlab continue for me, and we put the first one high, but please don't use and, just comma, and then comma, and then location, and press tab, and what is that? This one is south east, and run, and now we can see the legend in the southeast. It's just taking a while, but finally it's okay. Let me increase a little bit. Okay, so we finished the first one. Let's consider the second one. On the right subplot, we need to plot high temperature using vertical bar plot. So this is vertical bar plot. Do you remember? We take 4 special plots, and vertical bar plot was one of them. So in the second subplot, it will be bar, and bar is months, comma, and high temperature. So it will be high temperature. If I just run, I will have here the months, the 12 months with high temperature as a bar plot. Use this as a title again. The title is very simple as we mentioned. It will be title, and just add the title high, and just run, and we will have the title here, and again x-axis months, just copy and paste from here to there and run, and we will have months as x-axis. Do you have questions so far? I think we have bar, we have a vertical bar, we have the scatter things, we have the biplot, things like that. So please revise the other plots. Okay, next. This part is, okay. So write a Matlab script that requests a user to input his name. Once you see request a user to input, this is just an input function. And please notice there are 2 types to save the input, as a string, like a text, or as a number. So I can say his name, so I can just say name equal and just give input, because this is request a user to input something, and just I will write enter to write your name. And just run. But there are two mistakes or two things happen now. During the exam, you might wait and wait and wait, waiting for something. We are waiting. But actually, we should not wait. We just first open this part. Because here is the message for us. Waiting for us to input the name. Okay, I will write Salim. This is my name. And the problem that will happen that Matlab doesn't accept what I input. Why? Because I give input, but I didn't specify this string. So it will keep asking me again and again, what's your name? So in order to solve that, press Control C to terminate the run, and just here, comma, and put S, mean string. Now, if I run, ask my name, I will write Salim. Enter. He accepted, and my name is Salim. Okay, second thing. Request a user to input a 4 or 2 by 4 matrix named Matt. This is just a matrix. So request a user, the Matt equal, I will write here, equal input, and give a message. For example, enter a 2 by 4 matrix, something like that. If I run again, I have to enter my name and the matrix. My name I can write again Salim. And the matrix, enter 2 by 4 matrix. Any matrix is okay. Any 2 by 4. So for example, I can just write 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the first row. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is just second row. And maybe 4, 4, 4, 4. Something like that. It's okay. But the problem is, I just enter 3 by 4, not 4 by 4. So if you need this matrix in the next step during the exam, maybe you have to enter like correct the matrix, not any matrix. So another way, I can just run and write my name Salim. And easy things for me, it will come up. I can say random of 2, 4. So now I have 2 by 4 matrix. Very easy. Or ones or zeros, any matrix, it's okay. And instead of writing element by element, no, one easy thing. Okay. And then calculate the whole mean of the matrix. So now we have 2 by 4. And we need to know what is the whole mean. I said that before. What is the whole mean? What we should do? Whole mean means mean. Yes? Yes, one was start, please. He raised his hand. Yes, but I was a bit speedy. Yes, so in that sense, so the whole mean is equal to mean of, and this matrix which is math. And just run. But the problem is every time I have to enter my name and the numbers again, I can write same, random here, random there. So we have these random and this is the mean, whole mean of that numbers. Okay, is it okay? Okay? Okay. Let's check the next question. So the question 13, 14, they are covering reading from the file and writing to a file. Reading matrix from a file and writing from a file. But before going further, please remember, in the exam, I will not provide the Excel file. So you will not have the Excel file with you. If there is a question related to read matrix, you should write the question, and there is no Excel file to check. If you run the Excel file, you will have error. This is very important. If you run to read and you don't have the file, you will have error. But this is okay because you don't have the Excel file. Okay, so let me just maximize and check. Okay, so in lecture number 12, In lecture number 12, the Excel file name gradeexcel.xlsx, this is the file, and shown below, so this is the file, and we can see that we have weeks, this is weeks grade, and course grade, these are the tabs or sheets in the Excel file, and they mention we have this spreadsheet or sheet, this spreadsheet or sheet. Excel sheet, we can use a spreadsheet or sheet, both are okay, this is the name. And the requirement, first, import the week vector, this vector, from the week grade sheet. So we have to import weeks, column, from weeks grade sheet, and name it as a week. So they guide me, what should I do? In that sense, so in order to do so, we have to read something and store it as a week. This is the name, sorry, week. This is a vector name. And the vector name we should use read matrix. For read matrix, we can input. Number 1 is file name. Number 2 is a sheet. Number 3 is a range. So we can write the file name is gradeexcel.xlsx, and the sheet, Matlab continue, and the sheet here is weeks grade, this one, yes? So I will copy and just paste it here. And the range, this is range, and Matlab continue for me, but he doesn't put the quotation, so we put, and let's check the range. As you can see, this is from A2 to A11, yes? So we can just write the range is A2 to A11. Because I have the file with me, so this is the file. If I run, it's okay. It will work. We can see the week's value. Oh, what? So here the week's grade name is not mentioned in the file. So for example, maybe I took an old file, but if we open here, this is such kind of error. If the file is not there, or the Excel is not there, or something happened, it will not read the file. Okay, this is very... Okay, until it opens, this is just the first part. So long time. Okay, until it opens, the file opens. Let's check the second one. Import the student grade from this part, the green part. Same week's grade sheet and name it as a grade. So the easiest way, just copy this and paste it here, because we will change just name. So for example, this is the file. Yes, the name is not the same. So the sheet name here should be this one. And let me add it here. Control V, close, save. Let me just check. So this part should be grade and same Excel, same sheet. I will not change anything here. The only difference will be in the range. The range from B2 to E11. So it should be the range here, B2 to E11. Run. And now Matlab read the weeks and read the grades. Okay, next. Again, if the file is not there, if I just, for example, here, delete the file. If there is no file, and if I just try to run the file, I will have the error. The file is not there. Okay, next. Close it. The next is, we need to replace all the non-value with zeros. Do you remember the function is none? There was a function is none, because if we run now the files, we have none value here. So we will say is none for grade. If we run now, we can file true and false, true mean, one mean, true, this is none. So if we need to change them, I will keep them, but just say the grade of this is none. This is how we can select equal to and then 0. If I run now, please notice that none converted to 0, none converted to 0. So we just call the number using is none. Any question? We finished this part. Any question? Okay, next. Next is writing a matrix. Writing a matrix to Excel file. In this question, we have x and x1 and x2. And we need to write the following header in the first Excel, in the first row of Excel sheet named data. And this is the file name, like export case 3 Excel. And please note that the header is string. Of course, during the exam might not remind you there is a header if there is a case where you need to do that. But just remember that if you wish to write not a number is a string, it should be a string case. So in that sense, we have x and y, but we don't have a header. So I can copy this part and define here as a header equal to this. But we made a mistake because this string is t. If I just run, this is not recognized as something because st is not defined before. So if this is string, it should be within quotation. So I have to write quotation, for example, this quotation, it should be quotation for every number. String, the station 1, station 2, station 3, and station 4. And just run. Now it's okay. We have like station 1, 2, 3, 4. We have the header. So we need to write the header in this Excel sheet. So we need to write this one in this Excel sheet. So I can use here the function called write matrix. And the write matrix, please remember, it's slightly different from read. Read is just a file name directory. Write, which function first? And Matlab remind me, M is a matrix. Which one? I will write the header. And what is the file name? It is export case 3 Excel. And what is the sheet? And for this sheet, I can write its name is data, or data, as mentioned here. And please don't forget to write the write mode. So we can write the write mode. And for the write mode, we have two things, append or overwrite the Excel. Yes, overwrite the sheet, overwrite sheet. So it will be here. So the write mode here, it's in the second case. So it should be overwrite sheet. If I run, it will complete for me. And because we will write again, we need to appendix after the header and the appendix 2 after x1. So it's almost same. I will just copy and paste it twice. I will replace header with x1 and change the write mode to append. And for the second one, I will change the header to x2 and the write mode is append. And just run. And now we finish. The file already written over there. If we check, we can see the export file here, but it will take long time to open, so skip this part. Any questions so far? Okay, we have 10 minutes left and we have 2 questions left. Okay, hopefully we can finish. Do you remember this part? Because we covered the for loop, but we didn't cover the while loop, so this question covered the while loop. Do you remember here, we have just any series. And this series have this shape. Is 1 plus x2, x to the power 2 divided by factorial 2, x to the power 3, factorial 3, x to the power 4, factorial 4, something like that. First things, we try to find the pattern for this series. So it's x to the power 0 divided by factorial 0, x to the power 1 divided by 1, factorial 1, etc. So we have the pattern. This is very important. This is the previous question. Now we could write x and y and the header. So if we check here, if we consider that x equals 3, write a Matlab script or code that calculates summation of the first 5 terms. For example, here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's kind of make a summation of these 5 terms. How we can do that using while loop? Okay, first things, x equals 3. This is the most easiest thing. And of course, we will loop. We need to count 5 terms. In that sense, we need to count 5 times. So we will just make n is kind of a count, and n equal 1. Yes? And also we need to make a summation. So we need to create something, sum equals 0. These are the very initial things, x, n, and sum. Once we do that, we need to loop 5 times. Every time we compute summation, and when we finish 5 times, we will skip. How we do that? The easiest way, we can say while and put the condition. What is the condition? We need to check if number of element is not 5 or 5. So if n is the number of element less or equal 5. So n will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Until n is 5, it will be make the summation. So I will press enter. This is the for loop to do that. And if the n is less than or equal 5, what do you need me to do? First thing is compute the sum. So go to the first element, compute it and add it to the sum. Go to the second element and etc. So in that sense, if we still within the 5 element, I will write the sum, the new sum, equal the old sum plus, and then we will add the structure of the things. The structure say that it is x, okay, we know x, to the power something, but for the first term, number 1, this one, n equal 1, but the power is 0. It means is less than 1 by 1. And if we check this is term number 2, n will be 2, but the x it will be to the power 1, yes? So every time x will be is kind of n minus 1 divided by factorial of n minus 1. This is very great, but we miss one step, very important step, which is this is now n equal 1. We have to increase n to be 2, 3, 4. So the new n equal to the old n plus 1. If I do that, if I just run, now I can see how the things going on from the first start to the last start. So this is the end. Of course, if you need to improve the visualization, just use semicolon, semicolon, and just display n afterward or display the sum afterward. Okay, last question. So the last question is a function. Do you remember this question? So we need to write a MATLAB script to do the following. First, request a user to input 3 scalars representing the dimension of rectangle prism. So what's the length, width, and height? So before proceeding, I will write here L is equal to request a user mean input and give the message. This is length or L. Very simple message to me. Just give a space and repeat it 3 times because we need 3 scalars. 1 for length, 1 for width, and 1 for height. If I do that, if I just run, I will have 3 messages here equal what is L? I will write 10. What is width? 5. What is height? 3. Something like that. We already stored the 3. The next thing is you need to write a user-defined function called prism property. This is the function. What does this function do? Before going on, the easiest thing, I need to go to the end of the file. Write the word function. And function should have a square bracket equal the function name and parentheses. This is the outline structure. And press enter. Give end. This is the structure of the function. Okay, what will the function do? So the function will receive the 3 dimensions L, W, and H. Okay, so I can say the input will be L, W, and H. These are the inputs. And then what's next? Estimate the surface area and the volume using these 2 equations. So I can easily write these 2 equations. I can write the area A is equal to 2 multiplied to and open parentheses, and I can see L multiplied to W, so I can write L multiplied to W plus and then L multiplied to H and then plus and W multiplied to H. This is the first one. This is not 8, this is multiply, and the volume V will equal to LWH. So I can write L multiplied to W multiplied to H. Okay, the third thing, display the following message. The prism has a volume equal, surface area equal, so I can display the message here because this is still within the function. So I will write display of and write the message. The prism has a volume of and a volume equal and then plus and give the volume and then plus and then quotation and like the surface area equal and then plus and then A. Once we finish, no output will be returned. It means we don't have output, so we have to delete these. And then to call the code, just copy this and paste it here. And if I just run, again L10, W is 5 or 6, and then H is 3. Now we have the volume, area, and the message. We finish. Wish you all the best. If you have any question, you can send to me or contact the professor in the teaching support room. Thank you.